We'll see you shortly. Thank you, Shay. Along with the heat, rip currents remain a major safety concern in our area. In just the last 2 weeks, nearly a dozen people have died along the Gulf coasts of Florida and Alabama after getting pulled out by the water.
And now, with the busy 4th of July holiday weekend upon us, experts are really warning even in calm conditions, rip currents can form. And new tonight, ABC Action News reporter Lydia Vasquez is going in depth on what you need to look out for. And she lays out the life-saving details to know if you ever get caught in a rip current.
You would not have been able to convince me before June 2nd that this is how I would lose Mark.
Lori McElligott lost her high school sweetheart earlier this month after he was caught in a rip current in Daytona Beach.
He was the guy that would jump in, swim to the sandbar, hang out for a few minutes, and swim back. So to tell me that he wasn't going to make it in waters not as far as where the sandbar was, it would have never crossed my mind. And I wouldn't have believed you.
Rip currents have killed 11 people in less than 2 weeks along the Gulf Coast. That's why it's so important to look at this picture showing a rip current from shore. Pay close attention to this break in between the waves.
It'll be a calmness in the water where you'll see waves on one side of it, waves on the other side of it, and it's just kind of a smoothing of water kind of moving out away from the beach.
A rip current won't generally pull you underwater, but it can pull even the strongest swimmer far away from the beach.
So if you're caught in a rip current, you're going to feel water moving away from shore, and you're likely going to be moving with it. We encourage people to stay calm, remain calm.
Rick Kingston, chief of Sarasota County Lifeguard, says to swim parallel to shore until you're out of the current and someone can rescue you. Now, if you see someone struggling in a rip current, they say resist the urge to dive in and instead call for help.
Don't try to take that responsibility on your own. I think a lot of these incidences do happen where you end up with multiple victims from people actually trying to go and make a rescue that they're not capable of doing.
It's a nightmare McElligott and her family never thought they'd live through. Mark Bryson died, saving his son and friends.
Our 11-year-old, he has a hard time, especially when it's quiet at night. He hears Mark in his head yelling for him when he was trying to get to him in the water. And it's not fair. It's not fair that they have to grow up without their father now.
Kingston encourages people to go to beaches where there are lifeguards. The American Lifeguard Association says the chances of drowning in front of a lifeguard is 1 in 18 million, except they say there's a national and critical shortage.
We're going to have more drownings because you have no one safeguarding them.
It's why they say it's crucial you have someone dedicated to watching the water. Meanwhile, McElligott says even where there are lifeguards, don't ever assume you're clear of danger.
It was the worst day of my life. If I've got to be strong for not just my family, but for other families to make sure that they know the dangers, they know not to just assume, then that's what I'll do.
In Sarasota, Lydia Vasquez, ABC Action News.
Lydia, thank you. And if you're out at the beach and wondering about conditions, be sure to find the colored flags that are used as warning systems of sorts. I spent the day looking into each one so your family can be aware out on your next trip. First, the purple flag. This means there's an increase in stinging or hazardous marine life like stingrays or jellyfish. Next is the green flag. That means calm conditions. Yellow is medium hazard. You can expect moderate surf or currents. Red is when things get more dangerous. There are stronger and more frequent rip currents, and it's recommended you stay out of the water when that flag is flying. And then finally, this is the one you really want to watch out for, the double red flag. It's the most severe and means the water is closed to the public, but you can still walk on the beach.